girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Females made you just to trick me, trick me, trick me, trick me. 'Cause baby girl, you are so easily pretty. The only reason that I can do tonight is 'cause I know you were invited. The only reason that the stresses can die is 'cause I thought that you would like it. I'm only gone for the secret outside, because I want you to like that. The only reason I can do tonight is because I really like you, and I can no longer hide it. Want to remember your mind, the laces that goes over your digest. Why just tell me that you feel like I do?
Hi, this is Jessica Javens Talk, a podcast that helps you transform your life inside out into a life you love. Welcome to season 1. In today's episode, we have Yolanda M. Smith, who created an amazing life of transformation from corporate into entrepreneurship, where she's now impacting other women. You cannot miss this episode. Welcome, Yolanda. How are you doing today? Please tell us a little bit about you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Jessica. This is amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm so excited to be on your platform and in season 1. So this is exciting. Yes, my name is Yolanda M. Smith. I am a personal branding expert and business strategist that literally loves helping coaches and entrepreneurs to get and stay in business by unleashing the power of their personal brand. So through my systems, formulas, and guidance, I really help them and empower them so that they can articulate their value, right? Be able to live authentically and make those genuine connections and just stand out so that they can have the influence, impact, and income they desire.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And I know so many people, Yolanda, from the time that I was working in corporate who would love to be able to engage in entrepreneurship and be able to have that kind of support so they can have the courage to step into that life that they actually would envision and would love, but they hold back. They're scared, or maybe they don't have the right support system or the right influence or the right people around them. So tell me a little bit more about how you are able to help these entrepreneurs. It seems like maybe some that are stuck or having some difficulties in certain areas. So tell me a little bit more about that so we can have some of our listeners who are in that regular 9 to 5 job maybe have a light in the end of the tunnel and they can start making their move.
It's hilarious because I just did a masterclass called Paycheck to Profit, right? How to make that transition from corporate to entrepreneurship. And I can tell you, you're spot on in terms of really saying that it can be scary. And that was me too. So I literally spent decades in the pharmaceutical industry, and I was in senior leadership. And I knew I always had the entrepreneurial bug, but was fearful, because here's the problem. When you think about the mindset has the ability to create or the ability to destroy, right? And we're told so often that we are supposed to go to school, get a degree, go get a good job, whatever that meant, go get a good job, stay at that job forever so that you can get a good pension or a good 401k. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll get promoted along the way. And that's how it's supposed to be. So it's that labor mentality where you trade your time for money, right? And so I too was fearful. I think for me, a couple of things started to happen, and I realized that I'm just not having fun anymore. And I really knew there was so much more. And in 2013, that's when I learned about personal branding, because I was a chair of a nonprofit organization helping young girls to really build the confidence, have their identity and their self-worth through building their brand. And so I was that person that allowed the golden handcuffs to hold me back for years and years. And I remember negotiating with God because I had gone through a situation where I had even gotten demoted. They took my team away from me. I mean, all because of one leader, one person. It only takes one person that can destroy your career, and it was devastating. And I never will forget, at that moment, I said to myself, never again will I ever have all my eggs in one basket. Because one thing I learned is that the same hand that feeds you is the same hand that can starve you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I decided at that point. I negotiated. I said, give me a minute to get it together, God, and I'm out of here. And in 2018, that's when I started to monetize my superpowers, my
Wow.
expertise, right? And that's where it's a scary thing, but this is what I say, fear is a natural emotion, but you just got to be willing to do it scared. And so what I do is I help people understand. I just had this conversation with the client yesterday. I said, "What's the worst case scenario?" Worst case scenario. I said, "Sis, you've got to go get a job." That's your worst case scenario. You got to go get a job. I mean, you can get a job, you're marketable, you know. So it's about really being comfortable taking that risk, because the reality is we live in fear because of all the limiting beliefs we have. Those are, as you know, dictated by our past experiences or what someone has told us. And it becomes our beliefs, right? Because when you think about the power of the mind, it's the thoughts that create the beliefs that drive the actions, and the actions that create the behaviors and habits that we have.
That's it. I resonate with that 100%. And it's interesting because I had a similar situation where I was born an entrepreneur. I was raised around that with my parents, and I loved it. The vision and how you see everything is completely different than when you're working for someone else or you're working in corporate. But when I moved to Florida from another country, I dove into corporate and I stayed there and uncomfortably comfortable because it was something that I knew back to back. And
Mm-hmm.
I started having all of those paradigms, those beliefs, and maybe even self-sabotaging myself in a way like, how can I start a career at this point, at this age, or without knowing exactly what I want or how long it's going to take. Like I needed to have control over the whole thing before I made that move. So the part that I did beg for change, and the change did come, and it came almost all at once in my personal and my life is in banking. And I
Mm-hmm.
am so happy
Mm-hmm.
because once, like you said, once I did that, I went into the part where I dove into what I really love, what I'm really passionate about, and I would never go back. Never go back.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's completely priceless. It's a way of life. It's where you are your own CEO. You are the master of your life, and you get to use all of the talents, right? All of your talents. You're not in a box or put in a place where you just have to do something for somebody and not use any of your talents. And at the same time, you're able to be creative. We are creative creatures. We were
Mm-hmm.
made to create. And that's where you said it all
Mm-hmm.
starts in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
If you look around, everything that you look around was in somebody's mind at one point before it became an object, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how important that is. So tell me more about how you help
Yep.
clients. You said that you were with a client yesterday, or you said you have a training. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so for me, you know, I do coaching. I'm an international speaker, 3 times best-selling author. So there's a lot of different ways to get at me. I have digital products, all those things, but a lot of my favorite work comes in the realm of being able to coach, right? And having the opportunity to build community. So I build a community. It's called the Brand Domination Circle, where I bring together like-minded women who are, you know, on that pursuit of the transition, or they just, you know, have the side hustle, or they're full-blown entrepreneurs and coaches. And we mastermind together, we thought share. I do a lot of guiding them along the path, since in some cases I'm a lot further along. One of the big things I talk about these days is about creating multiple income streams, because right now, when you think about the coaching industry, you're talking about a 6.2 billion industry. When you're talking about the digital product industry, you're talking a 2.7 trillion dollar industry. So it's easier than ever to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And so really helping people get out of their own way
Mm-hmm.
so that they can see the value they bring. Because here's the problem: a lot of people will tell you they are not experts. I don't know what I'm good at. I don't know what my superpower is. And the reality is that it's because we are so accustomed to downplaying our talents, right? It's one of those things that I tell you, if you feel like it's ordinary to you because it comes second nature. It's because that's your gift, right? That's where your talent is. That's why it's so easy for you. And you'll then call it that old thing. Oh, that old thing,
Yeah.
that's no big deal. Oh, I can do that with my eyes closed. And I tell them though, but what is ordinary to you is absolutely amazing to someone else. And so you cannot sit there and rob people of your gifts just because you don't see the value in it.
What
And
a
so
way to
my
put it.
job is to help them really uncover, yes, uncover the value of the gifts that they possess so that they can help other people. And you do that by helping people to solve their problems. You solve a problem, you can make money because people are willing to pay you for your value. But one of the things I know is that most times people pay to get themselves out of something, not into something. So if you fundamentally know what transformation you can give someone, what problem you can solve for someone, people are more than happy to compensate you to support them and getting to the other side.
Very well put. Very thought-provoking. Thank you for that. Can you share maybe a story of
Yes.
somebody who you worked with that you saw this change, and tell us how it went, and how they were able to get into a successful path that they wanted to, but they needed somebody like you to help them.
Yeah, I've got a couple. One is a young lady. She was in the healthcare industry, an attorney in the legal aspect of it, and really was doing an amazing job. But sometimes it's tough. When she was being told she was too ambitious. I don't know how do you be too ambitious? I would love somebody that was ambitious. Can you imagine that? But again, having those sort of issues, not really cultivating our own brand. And see, what people don't understand is that when you think about brand, most people go straight to a logo, a color, their website. That's not your brand. That's your brand identity, right? Those are the things what you see in my background with the teal and the golds. Those are my brand colors. But my brand, I'm the brand, right? And my brand is what I represent to the world, the value that I can bring forth, and those sort of things. And so the problem is a lot of times is that people don't see themselves, right, as that brand. And so they look at it as an object, and they don't build their brand. And building a brand is saying this is what a brand is, so we level set so your audience will know. When I say a brand, I'm talking about the way in which you connect with other people, the relationship you have, how others perceive you. That's not the opinion of one person, but the collective, right? How you're perceived. So Jeff Bezos said it best. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So when you leave the room and they're gossiping, because they will,
Yep.
is it positive or negative? Right?
Yes, yes.
So it's the relationship that people have. It's the connection, the connection. And so when she wasn't doing any of that, we are all a brand. She was allowing it to organically grow. And in other words, when you do that, it's risky because when you're not telling your story, somebody else is. And she allowed some of her coworkers to run the narrative for her. And she was just simply miserable. She was being downplayed for her expertise. She started second guessing herself. And then she called and she goes, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's going on, but this is the situation I'm in. Can you help me? And I started dissecting and assessing the situation. And very clearly, it became clear she did not make the right connections, because when those things started being said, there was nobody there to sponsor her, to be her ally, her advocate, to say, no, that is not who she is, right? And instead, a new leader had come in and they ran that narrative, and the new leader just bought into it because, again, she's not defending herself. She's just doing her work, thinking work alone is enough. Again, that's another key lesson here. Mm-hmm. Just your skill level alone is not enough. Mm-hmm. You must build relationship. Connection is the new currency. And so we started building her brand. But then I said, why don't you really work on becoming visible externally as well? You have no digital presence, no digital footprint. That's not healthy. And she literally started branding herself, got excited about it, started enjoying it, networking externally, ended up meeting some powerful people who asked her to work with them. Again, she's very smart, has a legal background. I mean, she had a lot of value that she could offer, but when she could step into that and own that and knew who she was, she became very powerful. She ended up going into business, opening up her own consulting firm, literally partnering with these individuals, left corporate, and 3x'd her salary in less than a year.
Wow.
Power. Me, very similar. Left corporate America, scared because I was leaving a multi-six-figure job, right? Scared to death. Literally, get with the right coach, learn the system, put the right system in place. Spent 30,000 with him, but made 400,000. Is that a good investment?
Absolutely.
It's a good investment.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, because the other thing too is a lot of times we won't invest in ourselves. Listen, we'll invest on ourselves. We'll look good. We'll invest on ourselves, but we won't invest in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big difference. So I tell my clients, I tell people as I speak, do you want to look rich or do you want to be rich?
Oh, I love
That's a
that
difference.
question. Love
And
that question.
yeah. And not just rich in money. You know what I mean? Richness comes in so many ways. Rich in relationship, you know, rich in connection, you know, all these things.
Everything that you said is amazing, and that's what happened, I think, with many of us, and this can be very inspirational for the people who actually are thinking about it or are scared or stuck or holding back. And with
Yeah.
me, that happened too. I was thinking, like you gave a figure, it was about that. $30,000, an investment is like, that's a lot of money. I'm not in that six-digit salary anymore. And how am I going to do this? I should be
Mm-hmm.
saving and not spending. And it's a completely shift of mind. It's all in your mind and how you see it. And once you have that vision and
Yeah.
that wisdom from a person that's coming from that vision, coming from that mentality, that's when it all opens up. And I am so happy that I allowed myself to do that, or else I wouldn't be here. So because you allow yourself to trust that system and trust the people who are expert and people who went through it, went through this whole process, it was what helped me. And I see that you're doing that to so many other women. And that's absolutely amazing. Thank you for sharing that story. So for the people who are still watching
Thanks.
with us right now, okay, and they want that, but they're like, they're still holding to their paradigm, still holding to their beliefs, still being scared, still being uncomfortably comfortable at their jobs, and in that rat race. What would you say? What would you leave them with today as a way to help them to maybe catapult that longing and that desire that they have into what they want?
Yeah. I think it's about a strategy. It's about strategy. And so one of the things I would say is that you don't just have to stop working and run off. You can transition. Transition is powerful. I would tell most entrepreneurs, most individuals wanting to leave maybe the 9 to 5, trading, time for money, and really go out here and be able to have that time freedom and be able to get paid for your value, that you can start now while you're still working there. You can even afford that paycheck to help you build your business. That's what I did. I started in 2018 and I did not leave until 2022. Yeah, so I had a runway where I think it's important that you have 6 to 12 months of operational cost and living expenses, save it up, right? If you can do it in a way that it doesn't have to be as scary and risky. Now, given where we are in the current environment, there are going to be some people that are forced to do that, right? They're going to be forced to do that. And in that case, that creates a different scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have to kind of go into survival mode, right? And really be able to assess where you are. So you do the assessment of where you are from a financial standpoint. The second thing that you do, though, is then you start assessing the value that you can deliver so that you can figure out how I can package something, really looking at how do I then start to create some value with my expertise that I can solve some problems for some people. They would be willing to compensate me for that and look for those quick wins. As you then continue to, if you want to go back into it, search for a job. But while you're waiting, instead of people doing what they do, is worry and be scared to death and just allow stress to overcome them, you can be taking that same energy that you're focusing on something you absolutely can't control and put it into something you can and build.
Mm.
And so it just depends on the situation, but you have an opportunity to really understand what is the value I can deliver, what does the transformation look like for the person I can deliver it for, and what is the price that I can charge for my value given the what the market will bear for what I offer.
Those are,
And that
yeah.
and that's how you figure it out, and then you put your business structure and system in place so that you can be sustainable, because as we know, most businesses are out of business within 5 years. Well, why is that? They don't plan appropriate, they go broke, and it gets hard and they quit.
Yeah.
It's that simple. That's simple. It gets hard. And the reality is that nobody said it's going to be easy, because if it was easy, everybody would do it. But if you can stick to it, if you can just stay the course, you can get to the end of the sidewalk and you stop, and all you had to do was turn the corner and the momentum and everything was there.
Right there.
Right there. Right there. But we live in an instant society.
Mm-hmm.
We want everything in an instant.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it doesn't happen like that, oh, that wasn't for me. It
Yeah.
just wasn't meant to be. Yes, it was meant to be. You just didn't have the grit and the resilience to hang in there,
That
to
was
see
very,
your own
very
dream
well
through.
said. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Those are great tips, on point. Now I know that you're also a co-host of the Beast show, Creighton show, and I
Mhm.
was just curious to know, when you transition out of corporate, how did that play a place in you, and how did you create an impact at that point?
I think for me, I've just been fortunate enough to land in certain spaces. And Andre the Beast Creighton is phenomenal. And I knew him prior to being a part of his show. But how that came to be is literally I was a guest. And we had such great chemistry going back and forth with one another. He invited me back, and I came back again. And I think it was people commenting and really saying so much like, who is she? You guys really work well together, whatever, whatever. And he said, well, what do you think about maybe being a co-host? I said, let's give it a shot. And it's just, some things are just meant to be. People can really come together, and it fits. You know what I mean? That's him. We're like peas and carrots. We just go together. You know what I mean? So when we're on camera, when we're bouncing back, we can say things. We can work seamlessly together, and it's not difficult, it's not hard, it's not forced, so it allows us to be our authentic self. And that's why the show's been extremely successful in that way. Unfortunately, I've got a lot going on, so I'm not there as much as I should be, so I'm gonna try to do better about that, so I'm just putting that out there.
Well, I think it's amazing the job that you guys build together, and it's an incredible way of showing what you said earlier, which is connection is the new currency.
Mm-hmm.
We can never imagine the things that can come out of that if we just step into that, and the doors just start opening and amazing things can happen. It's just so powerful. So that's why I wanted you to share that experience. Now, a lot of our listeners are very interested in so much that you left us with today, and they would love to connect further with you. So if you can be kind enough to share the best ways that they can follow you and reach out to you for your services, your inspiration, your wisdom, if you can share that with us now, that would be great.
Absolutely. Well, my website is yolandamsmith.com, yolandamsmith.com. And I can be found on All social media sites. It's my company is called Branding for Success. It's the number 4, Branding for Success. So at Branding for Success on Instagram, you can find me. Branding for Success, Facebook, IG, YouTube. And a lot of times, if you do one or the other, Yolanda M. Smith, Branding for Success, I'll pop up. But certainly, yes, I'm always trying to put great tips out there to give the viewers something of value, right? So that they can always be understanding you must be the CEO of the brand called you. You've got to really be mastering that brand. It's so powerful right now because that opens doors unimaginable. The power of a personal brand will be the difference in you getting the promotion or watching the person get the promotion. It's the difference in you attracting clients or chasing them, right? Or you being able to be invited into rooms that you thought you would never get into.
That's beautifully said. Thank you so much for that. And if you are watching here with us this beautiful episode today with Yolanda M. Smith, click the like button, subscribe, and follow me for much more. This show is brought by Forever Living, which is the best aloe vera juice in the world that has transformed my wellness, and produced by the Andre Creighton Show and the Beast Network. My name is Jessica Javens, and this is Jessica Javens Talk.
Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Females made you just to trick me, trick me, trick me, trick me. 'Cause baby girl, you are so easy, baby. The only reason that I can do tonight is 'cause I know you were invited. The only reason that this dress is skin tight is 'cause I thought that you would like it. I'm only gone for the secret outside because I want you to like it. The only reason I can do tonight